Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Karen and today I am going to be talking to you about my favourite place in the world, which is Tokyo, Japan. Now, I can't be the only person at the moment who's looking through old travel and holiday photos and just wishing that we could travel again, and hands down the favourite place that I've been to is Tokyo. Now, as I can't actually travel there at the moment, which I really wish I could do, I thought I'd just sit down and sort of talk to you guys about my experience of visiting Tokyo. So in this video I'm going to talk through my 1 week in Tokyo back in 2019 and just some of the things that we got up to while we were there, and then at the end of the video I'm going to give you my top 3 favourite parts of the holiday and also my top 3 tips if you are thinking of visiting Tokyo yourself at some point. We flew out to Tokyo on the 10th of July 2019 and we flew from Manchester via Dusseldorf and then on to Tokyo Narita Airport, and I think the total flight time was about 13 hours, which I know sounds like a long time, but to be honest, like, I can't even really remember that much of the flight, which has only got to be a good thing, right? We flew with a company called ANA, and when rather than if, when we fly to Tokyo again, I hope that we can fly with the same company because the service was great. The pricing was reasonable, it wasn't even that expensive to be honest in terms of the flights. You also get a little bit of extra leg room as well, and when your partner's 6'5", you need all the leg room you can get, I'm telling you that now. So we flew with ANA, 13-hour flight, landed in Tokyo, and I'll be honest, like, as soon as you get off the plane it just feels like you're somewhere different and a little bit magical, which sounds ridiculous, but you know, if you know, you know. And the first thing that I took a photo of when I got to Tokyo was obviously the toilet. And the second photo was a vending machine, because do you know what else do you go to Japan for, eh? And it's just those little things I think that make you think, okay, we're definitely not in the UK anymore, we're definitely somewhere a little bit different. And then we headed on to our hotel. So one of the first things that we did when we got to Tokyo was get one of these Pasmo cards. So these, I guess, sort of similar to an Oyster card if you're in London. You use these to use the trains and the public transport over there, and honestly that was, you know, if you do anything, get one of these because absolute lifesaver. So we got ourselves one of these, topped it up so we could use the train, and then we headed over to Shinjuku where we'd be staying for the first 5 nights. So we split our trip into 5 nights in Shinjuku, and then the last couple of nights we spent in the Skytree area, which I'll come on to later. So we headed to our hotel and we stayed at the APA, I think that's how it is, APA Hotel in Shinjuku. One thing I'll say now, if you are travelling to Tokyo, don't expect a roomy hotel room. The room was tiny, like literally it was just a room for a bed. We couldn't even have both our suitcases out, and there's nowhere to store anything either. That's like probably the only sort of downside, but I mean that's Tokyo for you. You know, you come to live with it. That's normal for there. So yeah, as I say, if you're traveling there, don't expect to have a big hotel room because it isn't going to happen. So the first night that we were there, we just headed out into Shinjuku to sort of just scope the place out really and have a look and see what it was all about. The first night it was raining there, but with it being July it was still really hot, which was something that continued really for the rest of our time there. So the rain didn't really bother me, to be honest. We just had a wander around, went and saw all the bright lights of Tokyo, which there are a lot of. So if you've been to New York and Times Square, just imagine that, but like times 1,000, and it's like everywhere you go. It's just amazing. That's probably the first thing that sort of got me. It was just like, wow, there's bright lights everywhere, it's crazy, but beautiful at the same time. So we went and had a wander around, went and found a couple of the places that we wanted to go to during our time there, and then obviously ended up in a couple of the like arcade places, so with the crane games. Spent a bit of time in there because honestly you could spend hours playing these crane games. They are so addictive, and it's quite funny because if you've heard of like the term the salary man in Japan, so it's like the office workers, they go and they work all day obviously, and then they all just go out in town and stuff. at night, so you'll see all these guys in like suits and stuff playing in the arcades, and it's just, it's I don't know, it's not weird because that's normal for there, but it's so different, like the culture's so different to over here. So we spent a bit of time, I don't know how long, a couple of hours or whatever, playing these crane games, and that's where I got my first win, which was this little Psyduck. So he still sits with me on my bed here, but yeah, I won him and I was so happy. That was like holiday made. I've got my Psyduck, I've won on the crane games, happy days. And that really was our first evening because we were shattered, you know, jet lagged. So we got back to the hotel, got some rest, and then the next day was robot restaurant day. That, I will tell you, was an experience. I wasn't sure what to expect at this flipping robot restaurant place. So we'd watched videos on YouTube of people that had travelled to Tokyo before, and we've watched videos of this place, and you know, and you think, what on earth is this? Like, I'm not going to enjoy this. This just looks crazy. And you know what? It is crazy, but it was also awesome at the same time. You go into this building and then you go down all these stairs and there's bright lights everywhere and you're like, what on earth's going on? And then you're taken into like a holding room, have a few drinks, you've got some music going on, but it's like robot people from what I remember. I'll try and find if I've got some videos and stuff and I'll insert them in here so you can have a look. And then you get taken into, it's hard to describe. To me, it kind of felt like, you know, these sort of VR rides that you go on. It felt like we were going on one of them. So you're all seated in rows on either side of this big room, just wondering what on earth is going to happen next. And then, boom, I can't even explain it. Like, you have to go and see it to know. Robots, lights, flashing lights, music, I don't even know what the story was supposed to be, but it's like you can't take your eyes off it. It's just madness. And we were both watching this thinking, what is this? Like, honestly, what is it? Like, I don't know what it is, but I also love it. And I would definitely recommend, if you do go to Tokyo, go to the robot restaurant. It is so worth it. And I think because we did it on our first proper day as well, we were still a little bit jet lagged, so that probably just added to the experience, if I'm honest, added to the crazy. But it was at that point, after seeing this show, I thought, I like Tokyo, I like this place, this is just amazing. And yeah, it can only be described as an experience. Honestly, just pure madness. The way to fully understand it is to go and see it yourself and experience it, but definitely on my recommendations list. After the robot restaurant, we went and grabbed some dinner, and we went and got some fried chicken, obviously, because they love fried chicken in Japan, which is great for us because we love it too, and it was something we knew we could eat. Because we're both a little bit fussy with our food. So we went and grabbed some fried chicken, and I was like, do you know what? I am going to try with chopsticks. I'm going to eat with chopsticks, because they don't, in a lot of places, if they're more traditional, you don't get a knife and fork, it's just the chopsticks. Like, where it's more touristy, you'll get your knife and fork, because I guess they're used to catering to the likes of me that can't use chopsticks, or couldn't anyway. So I was like, I'm going to give these a go. Oh, and I tried my hardest, and I was there trying with this one piece of chicken for ages, kept dropping it. And this is where the one of the poor waiters came over and actually handed me a knife and fork, because he could clearly see me struggling. But I got it in the end, and I was pretty proud of myself. And so that was one of the things I wanted to do while I was there, was actually learn how to use chopsticks. But yeah, so that was dinner that night, and that sort of rounded off our first full day in Tokyo. After our experience at the robot restaurant the day before, we decided to do some less crazy things the following day. So we started off by going to Tokyo Station. So this is literally a train station, but it is absolutely huge, and there's like a mall inside there. So we went and had a look at the shops around there, and then visited our first Pokemon Centre. So one of the things I'd been looking forward to was visiting the Pokemon centres in Tokyo. So we visited the first one along with some other shops there. So you get all like the Hello Kitty shops and stuff like this behind me, like you can find that everywhere. Had a go on the gachapon machines, which again, if you have to do while you're in Tokyo, you can't miss them because they are everywhere. and I like them because it's like that little bit of mystery, like what am I going to get today? I don't know, I'm just a child. We had a look around there, went to the Pokemon Centre as I said, picked up a few bits because you can't not, can you? Obviously that's how I end up with plushies everywhere. And then we headed over to Tokyo Tower, which again was something that was on our to-do list. One of the things we wanted to do while we were there. So headed over to Tokyo Tower, and while we were over there we went to visit the Imperial Palace and also Shiba Park. So for a bit of culture really, get a bit of fresh air and just see some different places. Had a bit of lunch there and then headed back. Now the one thing you have to remember is that although like all these places that we visited are within Tokyo, Tokyo is so huge. So this is where having our little Passmo card came in so handy, because you can just travel all over Tokyo so easily on the train. Like, one of the things I was worried about before we went was the fact that like not that many people really speak English there, and a lot of the signs aren't in English. But honestly, it's so easy to navigate around there. And the trains and everything, they are bang on the dot, like not one late train. Everything is so efficient, it's crazy. And it just makes it so easy, so you can get to all these places so easily, like no worries at all. It takes a little bit of time obviously to travel between them, but it's just, it is, I keep saying it, but it's so easy. So that was sort of our day, and then in the evening we headed out for dinner again. I can't remember exactly what we had, but I do remember this is the evening where we went to the restaurant and ordered everything on a tablet, so you don't even need to speak to anybody. Again, with the whole language barrier thing, like, doesn't in a way exist because they've thought of everything. So you just order your dinner on a tablet. You don't have to worry about having to communicate with somebody. Obviously there's staff there if you want to speak to them, but it's so efficient, and you know, you still get the good service, but it just makes life a little bit easier for everyone probably. And after dinner, which we had in Shinjuku, so on the way back to our hotel we visited what's called the Golden Gai. Now this is basically a small alley with lots and lots of tiny little bars down it. So these are, like, when I say tiny, literally you can fit about 6 people in them. They're so small, and I was a little bit apprehensive about going in one of these because I don't like small spaces and I don't like being forced to talk to like strangers, because that's just the type of person I am. It's just the anxiety and stuff. But we went in this one and got talking to a couple that were also on holiday, and it was just so relaxed and like nothing to worry about at all, and it was just a nice way to end the evening really. Had a good few drinks and then back to our hotel. Now the next day was probably one of my favourite days, which was visiting Harajuku. So Harajuku is the definition of kawaii. If you don't know what kawaii means by now, kawaii means cute. And yeah, it definitely was that. So if you're into all the cute stuff again, you know, like I am, then this is definitely a place to go and visit. Now there's this one particular street which is so busy, but it's the one street you have to go down because all the like little boutiques and the little shops and different food places and, you know, all the stuff you want to go and see, it's down this one street. So make sure to go and fight your way down there. Now the day we went it was also raining, which made it even more difficult because everyone had their umbrellas up, but it was all good. So when we visited Harajuku, we went into a few little shops just to have a look at all the cute bits and pieces. And one of the places that I had to go to was this place where they make giant, and I mean giant, candy flosses. Is that the right plural? I don't know. But anyway, I'll show you a picture. But yeah, had to go there and get this giant candy floss, which was about 4 times the size of my head. I'm not even joking, but it was so worth it. And then after there, we went to the Shiba Inu Cafe. Now I know in the UK we have like cat cafes and stuff popping up around here, which is, you know, something that has originated from Japan. But we went to the Shiba Inu Cafe. That's the one that we decided on, and it was awesome. So you go in for, I can't remember how long the time is, half an hour or an hour, your time slot, and you go in and you don't eat anything because the dogs will probably eat the food off you, but you go in, you can have a drink, have a coffee or whatever, and you just sit with these lovely little doggies and stroke them and play with them, and it's just awesome. It's really for, you know, the people in Japan that live in little flats and can't have pets and stuff. So they go to these cafes just to get that interaction with the animals, which I think is so cute. And one of the things I'd love to do is to go and open up my own little Frenchie cafe in Tokyo or in Japan. That is something that I would love to do, to take my 2 little Frenchies, get a few more on board and just open up a little cafe, because I think it's just such an awesome thing. Now they do also have, like, I think owl cafes, cat cafes, hedgehog cafes. There's loads of stuff, loads of different ones you can go to. So again, if you like animals, I definitely recommend going to visit one of these, and Harajuku is probably the place to find them. While we were there, we also ate a load of crap food, like crisps with chocolate on, and then these fries, which I'm sure they were sweet, but I can't really remember. I've just got the picture that I've got on my phone from there. But yeah, the food's awesome. There's loads of cute stuff. If you want to go shopping for like your kawaii things, then definitely go to Harajuku. And then we headed from Harajuku into Akihabara, which is a place that we did visit a few times while we were over there, even though I've not mentioned it yet. But yeah, we went there quite a few times. Now, Akihabara is sort of the, I guess, the electronics, the sort of gaming district. So we went into a lot of places where they sold like retro games consoles, and also Pokemon stuff, so Pokemon cards. We went into a lot of places looking for Pokemon cards, because that's just something that we enjoy. So if you're a Pokemon card collector, again, definitely head over to Tokyo, into Akihabara. Loads to be had there. There's just so many places, and again, bright lights and everything. It's just awesome, to be honest. So we went into Akihabara that evening for dinner, and just to enjoy it at night as well, with all the bright lights and everything, because a lot of the times we'd visited previously had been during the day, so we thought let's go and experience it at night too. So that was that day. The next place that we visited was Shibuya. So this is again somewhere where I think you have to go and experience it if you are in Tokyo. So Shibuya is famous for the Shibuya Crossing, which is again kind of crazy when you see it. So Shibuya Crossing is like the busiest crossing in the world. There's about 1,000 people a time across this, like, I'll insert the video so you can see it, but it's just madness to watch it. It's crazy. I mean, Tokyo is obviously a busy place anyway, but just to see the sheer amount of people crossing a road at the same time, it's mad. One of the things you'll also see if you come into Shibuya via the train station, which you probably would do, is the dog that sat outside the station. Now, it's not a real dog. Well, it is, but it's a statue of the dog, basically. So his name was Hachiko or something like that, I think. But basically, like, the story behind this is quite fascinating. So there was this dog that used to go and wait for his owner at the train station every day when this guy finished work. And then sadly, the guy passed away. And then even after he passed away, this dog would go and just wait at the station, and yeah, eventually it died there, which is so sad. But how like, it's sad but cute. Like, that's why I love animals. Like, they're just amazing. And yeah, there's a statue of this dog because the dog just waited for his owner who was never coming back. But yeah, so that was kind of sad, but something to see while you're there anyway. And then we headed over to the Godzilla restaurant for lunch that day. Now, I don't think this was necessarily on our definite to-do list, but we were there and we thought, let's go and check this place out, and ended up having lunch there. And it's kind of, again, just, it's typical Tokyo. It's your breath away with these things. I don't know. So we went and saw Godzilla, saw him shoot smoke out of his mouth, and it was a bit scary, but again, kind of cool at the same time. Food was nice. We did have to wait a little while to get in there. There was a queue, but you know, that's to be expected, I suppose. But it's dead nice and quiet, good service and everything when you get in there, and then you can go and wander outside and see Godzilla out there. So that's what we ended up doing for that day. The next day was our last day staying in Shinjuku, and on that day we were going to be heading over to the Skytree area later on. So in the morning we went to see the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Office, just for, you know, touristy thing to do. And that was on our way to the Pokemon Cafe. So I mentioned the robot restaurant earlier as one of my highlights, but I think my favourite day had to be going to the Pokemon Cafe. I am such a child, like I don't even care, but it's just one of these things, like you see the pictures from it, you watch the YouTube videos, and yeah, it's so much better than what you see, obviously. But yeah, just a great experience, made me relive my childhood, and it was just fun. And yeah, that's just what I love about the place, like everything's just fun, no stress, no judgment. So we went over to the Pokemon Cafe, ate some Pokemon themed food, and it was just, as I say, it was just a fun time. We got to see Eevee. I was a little bit gutted that Chef Pikachu was not working that day, but we got to see Eevee and see Eevee do a little dance, and it was, yeah, it was just a good time. And after that we also visited the Pokemon Center that was there, obviously, spent more money there, obviously, and I just had fun, just got to, you know, as I say, relive my childhood, just act like a kid and just have fun, not worry about anything. And then towards the end of the day we then got the train over to the Skytree area, which is where we'd be spending the remainder of our time in Tokyo. The following day would be our final full day in Tokyo, so we took the opportunity while we were in the area to go up the Skytree and just experience the views of Tokyo from up there, which was pretty amazing. It just gives a different sort of view of the city. And then we just sort of chilled out a little bit more on the sort of final couple of days while we were in that area, because being in Shinjuku and travelling around the areas that we had done, like everything's so busy, but in the Skytree area it's just a little bit more sort of chilled out, a little bit more quiet, so it was quite a nice way to sort of relax that little bit before we headed on home. So yeah, we went up the Skytree and of course visited can you guess? The Pokemon Center. So yeah, so I forget how many Pokemon centres there are in Tokyo, and I think we managed to visit all but one of them, and they all have like these special Pikachus for each one, so we wanted to get as many of them as possible as well, because why not? While you're there you may as well. Picked up a few more bits at the Pokemon Centre, and then just went and had a look around the shops and stuff that were there. Went in one of the shops and went to see all these really annoying little Pikachus and Eevees singing and dancing. Oh yeah. Good fun, but very annoying. Ate a massive crepe, which was lovely. Yeah, again, just enjoying the food and just having, as I say, just a bit of a chill day, just, you know, having a look around the area and enjoying our final day in Tokyo. Now I forgot to mention as well throughout this video that one of the places we did visit a lot were the 7-Eleven. So if you go to Tokyo, definitely go into the 7-Elevens. They're everywhere. But like food wise and stuff, they've got so much choice. They're just like amazing. So different to the ones that you get in America as well. But yeah, just a note in there. If you go to Tokyo, definitely go into the 7-Elevens. Top tip. But anyway, the next day we flew home, and that was the end of our week in Tokyo, and it was, I won't lie, it was busy. It was non-stop because there's just so much to see, but it was just amazing at the same time. I will now move on to my top 3 favourite things in Tokyo. So number 1 wasn't actually something that we did, it was just the general vibe of Tokyo. So the way that I would describe it, it's the busiest, but at the same time, the most calm place you'll ever visit. So one of the things that I personally was worried about before we went over was the fact that, you know, it's the busiest city in the world. Like, as somebody with anxiety issues, and at the time I struggled to leave my house here in the UK without having a panic attack, I was like, how am I going to cope in this place with so many people? But like it's hard, well, it's pretty much impossible to describe. But even though it's busy, like everyone's just going about their own thing, people respect you. Like you go to the lights, people press the button, they wait for the green man to come up, and then they cross the road. Even if there's no traffic, people wait. It's not like here where people just think that they own everywhere and just don't care about anyone else. It's that respect. And like you go on the trains there, people don't talk on their phones, they're not being dead loud, they just respect the other passengers. It's just peaceful. And I didn't have one spell at all of anxiety the whole time I was there. It's just, yeah, as I say, impossible to describe really, but just so calm even though it's so busy. And you know, that along with how nice the people are and everything else, that's definitely my #1 favourite thing. #2 is the robot restaurant, which I've already talked about. So yeah, definitely if you're heading over to Tokyo, go and check it out. It's crazy, it's fun, it's just what Tokyo, Japan is all about. Yeah, that's just a top recommendation and one of my definite favourite things from our trip. And #3, I mean, honestly, these were so difficult to even pick 3 things out because I loved everything. Like the whole holiday, the whole experience was amazing. But #3, I've put the Pokemon centres and the cafe. And with that, just as I mentioned before, the fact that it's like there's no judgment. Like over here talking about liking Pokemon and stuff, or you know, more like childish things, you feel like people are just going to judge you. Over there it's like no care at all. And it's just, yeah, it's just like reliving my childhood a little bit and just having fun and not being judged for it, and just a good time. So Pokemon stuff, if you like Pokemon, it's everywhere, and yeah, just enjoy it, honestly. And finally, to round the video off, my top 3 tips for you if you are thinking of visiting Tokyo at any point. So #1, I've already mentioned it a couple of times, but it's to get yourself a Passmo or a similar rail pass. They do have different ones. Just do your research beforehand to make sure you're getting the right one for what you need while you're there. But definitely 100% grab yourself one of these. They're so easy to top up, so easy to use. You just swipe them, you get through the gate, you can use the public transport. It's just easy. And yeah, if you visit Tokyo, you are going to want to visit different areas. You won't want to stay just in one place, so you're going to want to use the train. Definitely get one of them. That is my #1 tip. #2 is to do your research beforehand and come up with an itinerary. There are so many things to do while you are there. Even if you were there for like a month, like you could still fill that time so easily. So I definitely recommend doing your research beforehand. Watch YouTube videos, travel vlogs and stuff, people that either live there or visited. Find the things that you want to do and plan it out to get the most out of your time. That's something that we did before we went, and I'm so glad we did, because we wouldn't have got half the experience if we hadn't have pre-planned things. And also booking things like the robot restaurant, the Pokemon cafe, we booked well in advance, so make sure you do book to make sure that you can get into all the places that you want to visit. And my 3rd tip, which isn't really a tip as such, but I would recommend, if you are planning a trip to Tokyo, go during the sakura season, so the cherry blossom season, which is sort of March, April time. When we go back, we're hoping to go around that time, so we'll probably try and go for my birthday, which is in the middle of March, just to experience it, because that's something that I think we both wish we could have seen. Obviously the timings didn't work for us, but if you can go and see the cherry blossom, it looks amazing from the pictures and the videos I've seen. I'd say recommend trying to go at that time of year, so you can just experience Tokyo fully, because the likelihood is not all of us are going to go there more than once. So if this is your one and only time, then I'd say try and go around that time and just experience everything that you can possibly experience. And that brings me to the end of my video. Yes, Tokyo is my favourite place in the world. I can't wait to go back there. And yeah, I just wanted to share this with you, because this is one of the places, when I tell people I've visited, that they're most curious about, because I think unless you've been there, it's so hard to even start to think or understand what it's actually like. But yeah, I definitely recommend it if you're thinking of going there. Definitely go. Definitely plan it properly, get the most out of it. But yeah, it's amazing. The people are amazing, and I can't wait to go back. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you've got any questions about anything, but obviously Japan and Tokyo in particular, leave me a comment down below and I will get back to you. Please also hit that subscribe button. All your support means the world to me, and I will be back again soon with another video. But until then, take care. I love you. Goodbye. Mwah.